Hello and welcome to the Naked Expat channel. There's a light rain at the moment in the air, so you might hear a little bit of a pitter patter. Not sure whether that will be suppressed in the edit, but hey ho. Welcome to Asia. I had a very long and interesting video chat with a subscriber who'd recently returned from the Philippines to San Diego in the States. And he dropped me a line saying, can we catch up on WhatsApp? He'd like to have a chat with me. I said, yeah, sure, fine, no problem. So we had a very long video chat, and his circumstances were no different, I think, to a lot of retirees, in that he'd come to the Philippines and he'd met a really nice lady. And things were going fine, but in the back of his mind, his gut instinct was telling him, there's just something not right. There's just something not right. And as always, as I said to him, well, you've got to listen to your gut. And he couldn't put his finger on what it was exactly, but he just knew that it wasn't really going to go anywhere further longer term. He wasn't entirely happy. So you got to go with that. And I told him, hey, you've done the right thing. And he'd gone back to San Diego with feeling that he'd done the right thing, but then was filled with self-doubt. Hence the reason he wanted to have a chat with me. And he sort of said, well, Andrew, you lived there. Did I do the right thing? Have I been a bit premature? Now, only he knows whether he's done the right thing or not, ultimately. Nobody else's decision. But I said with him, look, generally speaking, 99 times out of 100, you've done the right thing. Follow your gut. Now, the reason he was feeling whether he'd made a mistake or not was he'd gone back to San Diego and he's lonely. Well, surprise, surprise. You go back, after a nice time in the Philippines, you've got a company of a nice lady, I'm not sure what her age was, and everything was fine, but something in the back of your mind was telling you it's not really the right thing to do. Here comes the rain, but I'll carry on videoing, let's keep it real, it's authentic. With the microphone on, you'll probably still be able to hear me. And lo and behold, gone back to San Diego, now feeling lonely. And did I do the right thing? Did I dump her prematurely? And she was upset. She was really keen on maintaining the relationship. But no, you have not done the wrong thing, because you've got to follow your gut. And this goes back to a few of my other videos where I've said you've got to get your head right before you even come to Asia. Because otherwise Asia is going to really mess with your head even more. Now, it's all right to come to Asia to want to meet somebody, if that's your long-term goal, but you don't need to come to Asia like a horny little toad. It can't be priority number one. Priority number one should be enjoying your retirement or enjoying the Philippines as a vacation, or Thailand, or Malaysia, or Vietnam, wherever it may be, or even in Europe, if you're American. Lots of Americans and Latin Americans go to places like Portugal, for example, where they speak Portuguese, the same as in Brazil. So you get a lot of Brazilians in Portugal. You get a lot of Americans in Portugal, as well as in Spain and in Italy, other places in Europe. So it doesn't matter where you are. You want to enjoy your vacation or enjoy where you're going to be living as an expat. For yourself, number one. That's it. It should be you. You should be happy with yourself and your lifestyle and content with yourself. Secondary to that should be, well, it'd be nice if I met a partner. That's why you should have hobbies and interests. I'm a solo parent, so a lot of my free time is taken up with my son until he's old enough to look after himself, 18. I don't begrudge that. That's how things are at the moment. So I've got a few more years to go. Apart from that, and I'm not doing my video on YouTube or writing on my blog or my website, I'm going to the gym and I'm interested in fitness. And obviously, coming from an investment background, my hobby is health and wealth, as well as life coaching and psychology, which I've sort of studied. I'm not an expert, but I find it fascinating. So that keeps me busy. And sort of second, third, fourth down the line is if I want to enjoy the company of a nice lady, if I meet a nice lady, like I spoke on a recent video. I met a charming lady when I went to hospital for a recent prostate check, and she was lovely, and we'll meet for coffee sometime soon. fantastic. I'll look forward to that. Whether it comes to something or not, it's irrelevant. It's nice as a male to enjoy the company of female company. Not just about sex, but just wholesome chat. And she's intelligent, she's educated, she works in accounts and billing, she's got a bit of a brain, she's not like some little dumbass monkey. So I'm looking forward to that. You need to be happy with yourself, and you need to be, say, content, whether you like fishing or golf or snooker or billiards, darts even, gym, fitness, cycling, motorcycling, badminton, tennis, whatever you're interested in. Could be art, could be history, could be architecture, whatever you're interested in. Follow that passion as a man and be independent first. And then after that, worry about a woman, worry about pussy. Because ultimately, men and women are like cats and dogs. And generally speaking, guys is a dog, like my dog, Spud. He'll chase after cats and chase and chase and chase, and he'll have selective hearing. He won't listen to me at all. He's normally extremely well behaved. I can get him to sit, lie down, roll over, shake a paw, and do everything. And everybody loves him because he's so obedient. But you get him off the lead out in the subdivision, and he spots a cat, and boom, all of a sudden he's gone deaf. He won't listen to me at all. And that's like a lot of you guys as expats. When you come to Asia, you don't listen to the warning signs. You don't listen to your friends that are saying, look, she ain't no good for you, or whatever. You get blinkered, you get tunnel vision, and you no matter what, she's the one for you, she's the one for you, and it's great. And in a lot of instances, you're making a big mistake. But unfortunately, no matter what anybody says, his friends or family, mates, you're going to make those mistakes, because you're going to have to learn from your own mistakes and your own stupidity, because you're thinking with your little head, not your big head. So you've got to make those mistakes yourself, and hopefully they won't financially cripple you, so that you can get over those mistakes until you make the next one. No, hopefully you'll listen to your own big head later and think, okay, I'm not going to make the same mistakes I made before, because we all make mistakes, guys. Now, this subscriber, when we had a video chat, said, well, I knew something wasn't right, but now I'm back in San Diego. I'm worried that I rushed it. I was a bit premature, and maybe I shouldn't have ended the relationship. Andrew, what do you think? And I'm like, well, it's really difficult, because I don't know you that well, and I don't know the lady, but you've listened to your gut instinct and you ended the relationship, because when you were with her, everything was telling you that it wasn't right. But now that you've come away, because you're at home on your own, lonely in San Diego, you feel lonely because you haven't got anything else. Your goal for being in the Philippines was to be with this Filipina, and you knew it wasn't right. So you've come back sort of with your tail between your legs, feeling sorry for yourself, because the number one reason you were there was to be with her. And that shouldn't be your number one reason to be there. The number one reason should be to enjoy yourself and be yourself as a man. Secondary to that, if it works with a woman, it does. If it doesn't, so what? Which is always what you should do, because then you don't glamorize or put up on a pedestal just one woman and chase and build up this false analogy in your brain that she's the one. Because if you're dating other women, not being a playboy, you just make people aware. If you've got more options to choose from, you're not going to rush, because there's always somebody else. Whereas if you've just got one and you've fixated on one woman, if it doesn't work out, what have you got? Where's your fallback? Where's your fallback? I'm not saying being a playboy, because that's cruel, but you need to make people aware that ultimately you're dating other women, and you'll see how it goes. And then had you have done that, then your gut instinct was telling you there's something not right with this woman. You've gone back to San Diego, but it's no big deal, because at the end of the day, you're dating other women. Eventually, it'll and we wouldn't be having a conversation over video chat, because you know that there's plenty of other fish in the sea, because you've kept your options open. And that's the biggest drawback of expats, certainly from the West, because one of our weaknesses, and this goes for everybody, including myself 20 years ago when I first came to Asia, one of the biggest faults that we have as a weakness as Westerners moving east is we are too nice. We can all get drunk, we can all smoke, you can act like a complete and utter asshole. But ultimately, when it comes to a relationship, we're too nice because you're in your 50s or 60s or 70s and you feel blessed that you've met somebody in their 20s or 30s. So you bend over backwards for this person and you put up with more crap than you normally would put up with. Why? Because you feel privileged to be with this younger little pretty thing. Whereas ultimately, you should be interviewing them and you shouldn't be scared to walk away. If you're in your 50s or 60s and she's playing up, you don't feel like something's right, your gut instinct, your instinct's telling you, no, there's something not right. You've got some red flags, warning signals, use whatever analogy you want, whatever metaphor fits. That's it. And you walk away and do not, as I've said on other videos, do not be afraid to be on your own. If you are afraid to be on your own, you know, were you somebody that didn't ever want to leave home? Were you holding on to your mother's apron strings when you were younger? You know, grow a pair. You've got to be independent. Otherwise, you're going to be dependent. And if you're dependent on women in Asia, they are going to take advantage of you. And you can chase women, but if you don't have options, as a dog, what happens when it corners a cat? The cat turns around and scratches the dog's bloody eyes out. And generally, dogs don't win in fights over cats. Ultimately, you ain't going to win with any disagreements with an Asian woman. You're never going to win. Not only are you a foreigner in a foreign country, you're never going to win. Men and women are totally different. We as men will never understand some of the intricacies of the female psyche because we're not built like them. Likewise, they're not built like us. It's kind of like it's a marriage of convenience. What she can give you and what you can give her. And that's all it is. It is transactional. I've said it many, many times. And if you think anything else, you're absolutely deluded. So don't be afraid to be on your own. Think of it as, certainly when I spoke to this great guy, lovely guy in San Diego, I said, look, don't be afraid to be on your own. You followed your instinct. You knew it wasn't right. You've gone back to San Diego on your own. Great. It's time that you can gather your thoughts, take stock, rebase until you go to Asia again. If it's still the Philippines, what have you. And don't worry about online dating before you go. Give yourself plenty of time in the Philippines. You can use online dating a little bit, maybe one of the better quality paid online dating platforms, just to maybe hook up a few dates for coffee. Don't promise anything. When you're in Manila, Cebu, or whatever area you choose, if you want to just use them almost as practice, so you get used to talking to women, and you'll find that you'll have much nicer dates with slightly older women than you will with younger little pretty things that will be demanding, that will expect like the sugar daddy treatment. And you don't want that. That's just it's got high maintenance written over it. It's got drama written all over it. If you're in your 50s or 60s or even older, you don't need that, guys. You really don't. If you're content with your own company, then you'll be chilled out, well-balanced and happy, and you won't be desperate to meet a woman. So because you don't come across as needy and you are selective, you will probably pick out more attractive, more suitably attractive women to date because you're being selective. You're not like some other just playboy foreigner that will just date anything in a skirt that moves, that pays any type of attention to you. Be selective. It's quality, not quantity. But don't fixate on one. There needs to be a balance between quality and quantity. You don't need to date hundreds of Asian women, but you can date in the tens. I've said before, date 20 women. Date 20 women before you fixate on just one. And even then, take things slowly, but be happy with yourself. And just because you feel lonely in America or Europe, whatever, great, fantastic. All the more reason to be more selective when you do come over here. Because the one thing that we haven't got on our side, guys, is time. When you're in your 50s, 60s or 70s, you don't want any drama. Yeah, you might want a bit of company. You might not want to be on your own all the time. But when you look at couples that are on Facebook. You've got a foreigner, normally with a Filipina girlfriend or fiance or wife. What do? Is it a dialogue on video? Very much it's a monologue, isn't it? They're sat there like a little puppet. Yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full sir. Very rarely have they got their own opinion. Very rarely. They don't really say a lot. And that's testament to what the relationships are like. Now, if you just want a little yes, like a little puppy dog that's just going to say yes sir, no sir, 3 bags full sir, that's what you're going to get. If you want somebody a little bit older and more mature that's going to look after you and make you think twice, and you're going to have a dialogue rather than a monologue with this woman, then you're going to have to date more age appropriately. Otherwise, you're kidding yourself. You're kidding yourself, not just in Asia, because you're with the woman for the ego. That's all. That's why you're with the woman. It's your little head leading your big head rather than the other way around. And you are totally in denial if you say otherwise, because you're trying to justify the actions of people like Prince Andrew that everybody hates. Now, okay, Virginia Giuffre was 17, so she was underage legally, and she was trafficked. And it ended up, because nobody believed her, she took her life. Terribly tragic story. But ultimately, as I've said in the previous video, there's not a lot of physical and mental difference between a 17-year-old woman and an 18-year-old woman. There's not a lot of difference. There isn't a court of law, but mentally and physically there's not a lot of difference. And that's why people are disgusted, because he was 41 and she was only 17. And there was 24 years difference between them. That's what they're disgusted about, really. And yet a lot of you foreigners will come over here and have even wider age gaps. And what have you got in common with them? F all. F all. Nothing in common. She's stroking your ego and she's stroking other things. And that's why you think you're happy. But it's not a relationship. Just like conversations, it's one way. It's a monologue. And what is going to happen? She's playing the long game. She's playing you. She's playing the long game. And why is she playing the long game? Because she knows that if she's young and you're in your 60s or 70s, when you're 80, you'll be dead and she'll be 40. And she's a widow. But she's got everything. I've seen an Australian guy down the road from me that's got 3 children in Australia that got nothing. And he loved them to bits. But he got seriously ill, and he had all of his wife, who was Filipina, convinced him to have all of his money and all of his extension and all of the house done and everything else done in the local subdivision. He's living in an absolute palace, but with very little income, and she's got that. He died, and she's got that. And his kids have got nothing in Australia. Well, that's not right, is it? And I knew him, and I know that that's not his ultimate wish. But I don't blame her. She played the long game. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I certainly enjoyed my video conversation with the gentleman in San Diego. He knows who he is, and I'm sure he'll be fired up for his next trip to the Philippines. And if he keeps his options open, then he can continue to do what I think was the right thing to do. Gut instinct. If you feel something's wrong, there probably is something wrong, and you need to go back, rebase, and come back again with a fresh set of eyes. And don't just maintain a relationship because when you go home you feel lonely. Be happy in yourself, and let women or pussy be a secondary issue in retirement. The first issue in retirement needs to be your health and your wealth, and you're happy as an expat. And most of the people that watch my channel are men. So really, if you're an expat, you're living in another country, you need to look after number one, because nobody else is going to. And secondary to that should be relationships. Should not be the main driver for you. Otherwise, you're going to end up making foolish decisions. And you will be influenced to make decisions for your partner's benefit more so than yours. And that's when things can start going downhill for you. Until next time, enjoy.